Okay, so I'm in my cost data sheet and I've calculated out a few of the variable costs for each of the restaurants as well as the fixed costs for each of the restaurants and explain what that meant. Before you get started, please ensure that everything that's in yellow is already completed because you're going to need that in a little bit. What we're going to do now is talk about the daily cost and move on down. And the daily cost means that how much is it going to be for each restaurant simply to be in business. And this is going to be derived by adding the fixed costs to the product of the amount of items sold at each price times the variable cost for producing it. Okay, remember the fixed cost. If I am open for business, whether I sell 0 meal, 20 meals, 1,000 meals, it's still going to be costing me my equipment rental and my booth rental just simply to be open. Now the variable costs come into play because the more meals I sell, the more labor and the more materials or ingredients is going to consume, and so I have to add that out. If I look at the formula here, it's really important to see a couple of symbols. First off, you start with the equal sign. Second of all, I have to do the multiplication of the variable cost and the amount sold at each price before I add it to the fixed costs, and that's why it's in parentheses. And the fixed cost is added at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to Taco Villa. I'm going to talk you through the process. Okay, for $10 at Taco Villa, what I need to do is type in a formula. And so I'm going to make it equal to, open my parentheses, the 40 cents per meal it costs to make a meal times the demand from the demand schedule for a $10 meal at Taco Villa. To find that, I go back to the demand schedule. And I simply click on the box. I'm going to close my parentheses and add it to, going back to the data, my fixed cost. And when I do that, I'm going to find it costs $30 for Taco Villa to be open. That makes sense because it sold 0 meals, which means there's no variable costs, but they still had to pay $30 to open the door. Okay, now here's what's really important. It's really important that I always do everything against B16 for Taco Villa and B11 for Taco Villa because that's going to be a fixed cost. And if I look here, I see my B16 and I see my B11 and I'm happy with that. What I hope to do is just simply go to the plus sign and drag things down. But what you're going to notice here is going to be a little bit of a problem. You start getting error messages. Okay, remember, I want to be able to see B11 and B16 being present, and I don't see that. What's happening is, if I scroll down each box, see how those numbers are starting to change, the orange and the blue? That's a problem. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to introduce you to a little operator. Before the number 11, I'm going to put in a dollar sign. And before the 16, I'm going to put in a dollar sign. And when I do that, you're going to notice it doesn't change anything with the math here. But as I copy it on down, watch what happens to those error messages. You start seeing here that basically nothing was being sold above $4. And now when I get to the $4 meal, you see a variable cost being produced. Okay, when this happens now, you're going to notice that things start adding up or getting greater, and that's great. So if I go on down to the rest of these guys, I'll see that now I have more costs. Now if I want to, I can also now cheat a different way. I can go to the little plus sign or the box and I can drag things over. And what this will do is I'll start calculating it out for the various restaurants, how much it costs to produce things. And if I want to, I can bring it on down. And look at all the math it starts doing for me. Okay, so what do I take out of it? Well, I need to make sure I set up my formula the proper way. I also need to make sure I have my parentheses to calculate my variable cost by the number of items being produced. And I also locked into place row 11 and row 16 from the total costs because this is something that I must have and must know in order to do my math. Now, my work is incomplete up here, so please don't take this for the truth what these numbers really are. I was just showing you how it works. But now you can copy over formulas and it'll actually save you a lot more time. So thanks for watching.